A lot of pressure.
It is a lot of pressure, which, if we're live, hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It says we're live.
Yep, it just went.
Cool. Hello and good evening.
Hello and good evening.
So, welcome, ladies and gents. So, this is number 13 of 14 for our live sessions. At this point, we've already covered the chapters in the book, and our next two sessions are going to be focused on test taking. That includes discussing just test taking in general for the test, how to prep, what to do to prep, different study tactics. We'll be getting perspective from a couple different people as well. And then also we're going to be looking at CCCure for some practice test questions as well. So with that, if you guys have any questions, feel free to throw them in chat. We'll hit those as we go along here. Feel free as we are going through CCCure and the answers are up there on the screen, throw them into chat as well. If you have questions on those, go for it. But to kick it off, for those in chat, if you guys have any specific study questions, throw them out there. And then I'm going to throw it to John, Jacob, whoever wants to go first. Um, what is what was your process to study for the exam after you guys basically got through all the material? What did you guys do then before you took the test?
I'll go first. Me personally, I did a course on Udemy. I don't recall exactly which one. It was just a video course. And then afterwards, I just spammed as many practice test questions and practice tests as I could. I think just getting yourself familiar with those kinds of questions, and especially the ones like we had last week, where, accept or, look for the best answer. Just getting yourself as familiar as you can with those questions.
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
How did you prep uh, in terms of studying for the exam?
So I was a retread. I had taken the test in I think 2019 when I retired from the military because they had this program through Syracuse where they had a thing you took and I failed the test. I didn't prepare enough. I didn't take it seriously enough. And then I somehow in my job it came up that I needed this IAM 3 level cert, and they paid for me to go through a boot camp, through training camp. I was really hoping that the boot camp was going to be the silver bullet, and it was not. It gave me, a good refresher, but I had at that time I had already been through one of the FRSecure mentor programs, and so I read the book. I did some Kelly Handerhan stuff. There were two other things that I did on O'Reilly books that I can't remember, and I did practice questions. I cut out things from my life, like I deleted social media off my phone. I stopped practicing guitar as much because it was just even though I had a voucher to where I could take it again if I failed, I just didn't want to leave it to chance. So I pretty much just I got tired of it. I was disgusted with it. I didn't want to look at it. I didn't want to think about it. I beat it into my head until when I took that test, and then when I sat down to take the test, man, I felt like there were some severe holes in my knowledge. Um, and when it stopped, I wasn't sure that I had passed. Um, so I'm not sure that my process is, all that really methodical. I just really just engulfed myself in the information. I would actually listen to the audiobook and read the study guide at the same time to keep myself from veering off and thinking about something else. Because I'll be reading things and think about something else and completely forget what I read. So my method was brute force.
I, I think mine it would be helpful too, even though it's been, oh my God, it's been 10 years. I'll have it 10 years this year. Um, but for me, I read the official book and the another book I can't remember off the top of my head. But writing it down. Like write it down. It helps you remember better. So any of those concepts that you're really struggling with, write notes to make it stick better. And then like Jacob, I was doing a full 250 questions because that's what it was at the time on CCCure, and like almost daily, just at least a couple of times a week leading up to, just to get comfortable and feel, because back then you didn't have the adaptive, so it was the full 250, which took 4.5 hours. You had 6, but 4.5 hours sitting in there testing that is a marathon.
I really like those CC Cure questions, and really, any platform that also explains to you why your answer was wrong, explains to you why the right answer is right.
Yeah.
I think that for me was just really useful for, quickly evaluating where my deficits were, and the explanations for the questions might give me what I need. Whether or not it gets committed to memory is another question, but can definitely show you where you might need to study a little more.
Yeah. Yeah, I used Kelly on Cyberary. Um, it's a little bit higher level than I think even though we go into, but the way she explains it like made so many things click for me.
Yep, like Jake was saying, the test banks that have the explain, hey, this is why this is the right answer, this is why it's the wrong one. I noticed that there was information that was being introduced in this that wasn't covered in the official study guide, which encouraged me to seek out other resources. And I had a habit because I have like a short attention span. I would do 10 or 15 questions at a time. And as I got closer to the test, I realized that I needed to do the full 200, 250, or whatever it was, that, the full, because that test is timed and you only get about maybe 2 to 3 minutes per question if you take the entire test. So I needed to make sure I had the stamina to where I could keep my mental faculties about me for the entire time of the test. But just, also it was really an overwhelming process, and once it was over I was so relieved. I really was.
So I wanna touch on something that I think has been mentioned a couple times here. It's being able to sit for enough time to actually take the test, because you will not have any distractions. You won't even have a phone with you. They will make you put it somewhere else, and they will check you to make sure you don't have it on you. To be able to just sit in a spot in front of a computer screen and just answer questions without distraction. It's like you need to build up your test taking stamina in a way so that you can do that, so that you're not 2 questions in and you're going like, oh, I wonder what's been posted on whatever recently, and want to look at that, to hone in that focus, because you really have to focus, which is kind of the opposite of what everything else wants you to do these days. And just that. Also, one thing that you need to be aware of is that you won't have anything as a background. I know that in some places they'll actually give you noise canceling headphones. I think it depends where you're testing at. For that, you might be able to ask for them. They might give them to you, or they might not have them. But do it in an area as much as you can where you don't have, say, music in the background. You can't hear outside noises. Some things are just going to happen, right? You're going to hear things happening. But if you can go to an area where you're just in a room, also the lighting. I know someone mentioned that to me one time, was that you're going to be in a well-lit room generally, where if you're used to sitting in a dark room and a lot of light bugs you, get used to having a lot of light in the room, because that's just how it is in these testing centers. Um, so
The other thing when you're talking that made me think of this is take those full 150 questions so that you know how long it takes you, and also when you know you're going to need to take a break. You can take a break, right? So if you know you have 4 hours and it's consistently taking you 3 hours, maybe halfway through, maybe a third of the way through, take a quick 5-minute break. Just get up, stretch, get a glass of water, or drink of water, whatever, but know how long it's going to take you to do 150 questions for a worst case scenario.
So what I was doing for about a week before was I also use CCCure, which there is a discount code for for CCCure if you guys are interested in it. It is FRSecure all caps. But I was doing 100 questions a day in CCCure up to the week leading up to it, and even before that, I was doing say like at least 15 to 25 or so a day. Also, what was mentioned is that it'll give you an explanation of what the answer is and why you got it wrong. I would take that and say like, okay, well, I obviously got this wrong, so here's the explanation. Where does that coincide within the domains, and do I need to now go back to that domain and read more about that domain or get additional resources? So, yep, I was just going to say they give you like a dry erase board and dry erase pen that you can use for it.
Also,
Um,
keep in mind that when you take your bathroom breaks, the test clock does not stop.
No.
So, I was strategic in not drinking, and I don't eat until later in the evening anyway, but I was strategic about not drinking a lot of water because I wanted to make sure, with the potentially 150 questions in 3 hours, I wanted to make sure I had enough time. So, just factor that into your particular strategy.
so did you guys do anything like change the way you did things? I know that John, I think you said that you changed the way that you did things leading up to the exam. Like for me, I changed the way I ate leading up to the exam. I started like in the mornings, I would start drinking, it was green tea and eating blueberries because those are superfoods, right, for helping your brain. That was about 2 weeks before the test. That was one to help me study, but then also to set that so that when I went and took the exam, I didn't like just go and have like a huge meal this in the morning before and eat a bunch of greasy food before I sat for the test. I know I'm a morning person, so when I schedule my test, I scheduled it for first thing in the morning. I wasn't going to do it in the afternoon because I know I'm weaker in the afternoon and my brain won't work as well. So there's another tip for you guys is know when you're going to be best for the exam. Some people are better later in the day. Some people are better in the morning. Some people in the middle. Whatever works for you, whenever the best time of the day for you is. Obviously, I'm not going to do it at midnight. I apologize for those who are midnight people, but schedule the test for what works for you and when you will be best. Any other taste-taking advice?
I was gonna say I did change mine. I typically don't eat breakfast. It's just not. It's just something I've never really done. But the month leading up to it, I knew I was gonna have to be like sharp. So I would drink, a protein drink or something in the morning so that I had a little bit more energy uh, to knowing I had a marathon. And I took it at like 9 and knowing it could go until 2 o'clock.
So a couple other things to know for the test. So 3 hours is how long you have these days for the
It's
test.
3 hours. Okay.
It is an adaptive test, meaning that when you are taking the test, whatever question you answer potentially has an impact on the next question that you get. Also with that is you can't say mark a question like say like, hey, I'm going to come back to this question later. Once you answer a question, you cannot go back to it. You are constantly moving forward. I know that there's a lot of tests out there where you can mark that, come back later, because maybe something in a future question is going to key you an answer to another question. They do not allow that here. Also, there are test questions. There you go. That you will get that do not count against your score. They are what do they call them? Prototype
Pool.
questions or
It's like part of the test pool for future.
yeah. So basically, they're questions that they're putting out there to potentially put on the test and score. So I believe that there's potentially 25 of them that are going to be on there. Was the number that I'd had when I took the test.
Same.
So they're potentially you're going to sit down in front of that system and you're going to get your first test question, and it's going to be something that you have no idea about, and you're just going to be like, well, shoot. So just know that you do not know which questions those are, so you have to treat them all the same as if they are going to count against you. But just know that there are questions out there that are like that. So, and also it is between 100 and 150 questions. So when you sit down, you don't know how many questions you're going to get. And the reason why they do that is because basically, since it is adaptive, since what the system does, it say you get a question on, for me, it was programming, because that's not one of my strong areas. I got a question on programming. I probably got it wrong. So then the next question was about programming and security. And then the question after that was about programming and security. So it's like, oh, shoot, there's obviously something going on here. And basically what it's trying to do is giving you those questions to make sure you know enough and you can pass those questions. So that's why for me, I went to question 101 is how many questions I had.
They
And
test
so
a certain probability of passing, and that's where it cuts off
yeah. So
or failing.
So at 101 or at 100, I was on the edge, and from what I had read, there's a lot of good resources out there where people talk about their test experience. It was like the more questions you go, the harder, not harder, but it's still trying to make sure you know enough, right? Where if you hit 100, question 100 and you go and it says, hey, you're done, either it knows that you didn't pass or it knows that you did pass right then and there. So
Uh,
um
One thing real quick too, they do not give you a score. It's either pass fail. The ISACA does give you a score, which I actually liked, and tells you like what percent of test takers you finished in, which is kind of nice because I think a lot of us are competitive, so it's always kind of nice to see where you finish. But no, yeah, you get no score, you get a pass fail.
I thought that it was if you failed, it would tell you, but if you passed, it wouldn't, was the way it
I
worked.
think it tells you the domains like a percentage or something. It doesn't give you like a score, but it tells you a percentage of the
Gotcha.
different domains.
Yeah, I will share with people too. I've taken a number of these tests, like at the Pearson test centers. This one, yeah, it doesn't show you anything at the end. You don't know until you get that printout, until you like actually leave the testing center, whether you passed or failed.
Yeah.
Every other test that I've taken has just, told me right at the end, hey, whatever. But yeah, something to keep in mind.
So I wanna so people can be prepared because I'm a planner. I like to know everything that I'm getting into. So say for instance, when I went to go take the test, I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't know what to expect when I walked into the door at the testing center. Um, so for those out there, I want to give you guys that. Now, I know my test experience and I've told it before and I'll tell it again. But anybody want to like basically when you walked in the door, what did you experience? Like the check-in process?
Fear, panic. No,
Well,
I'm kidding.
It,
I
I,
think isn't that a given in this case?
yeah, well, they're gonna make you scared because it's like probably the highest security thing I've ever dealt with. They take your ID, scan it, verify who you are. They make you turn all your pockets inside out. They made me take my glasses off and they put them on a tray and spun them around. And they took palm vein scans, like once to like enroll me, and then there was another scanner at the door to the testing center. So like if you leave or go back in at all, you have to rescan your palm veins. So you're not faking that. But yeah, it was a little intense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very similar experience is as Jake. It's kind of almost like being booked into the county jail. And I swear, and they treat you like a criminal. They want to see your ID. They even want to see your ID at the end and
Mm.
check your glasses at the end.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, I'm bursting with anxiety. Did I pass? Did I fail? What's going on? And the lady hands me the paper and I start celebrating and she's like, sir, you need to be quiet. And it took every ounce of military bearing in me not to tell her to F off, because I had just accomplished one of the hardest things I had ever done in my life. It was not anything like CISSP. I mean, I'm sorry, like Security Plus. Security Plus was rote memorization. I mean, I think I missed 2 questions on that test. CISSP was a whole entirely different ball game.
Yeah. I actually didn't. I took the paper and didn't look at it until I got in my car because I was just like, oh my God, I have no idea how I did. So I got in the car, called my wife, and I said, "Oh, hey, are you ready? I need the moral support." And I passed. So it was
I
all
had
good.
I had I had to wait 6 weeks for my results.
That's how it was for my
Mm.
CISM. I took it in October and didn't get the results until February.
Yeah, 6 weeks.
That that was hell.
When I went, there was a guy in front of me that was checking in for something, and all he had to show was his ID, like an IED, and that was it. And I'm just like, the heck, man. And then they're asking me for everything else, like, like you said, the ID, the secondary ID, the fingerprints, the palm vein scan. And then when I went back, the guy had gone before me. Like they basically just said, okay, here you go ahead, you're at this computer. Where for me, like I my hat had to go in the locker, the phone had to go in the locker. Then I had to, like you guys said, I had to give them my glasses, and they checked my glasses. They put it on this little turntable and spun it around to make sure there's nothing on it, or something hitting with my glasses. Pulled out my pockets, and they checked all my pockets because I wear cargo shorts. So they want to know all my pockets were empty. Just a note, if you guys do leave during the testing area, they will check you out and do the same thing. Then when you go back in, they will check you again as you go back in. So make sure that you take that into account for time. Um, Also, like I said, that so they check everything, and then just as I was leaving, so like I said, I hit question 101. It said the computer screen said I was done. I had to get someone to come over. They had to do whatever they did with the computer. And then here I am after I honestly, from the second question on the test, I thought I failed. Like I'm like, this is not what I was expecting. This was a lot harder than I expected. Some of the topics, I was just like, wow, man, like I didn't know none of the questions, none of the practice test had prepared me for this, right? So just know, guys, when you guys go and you guys sit down, there's a good chance that the same thing will happen to you because that's the way it's designed to do. Uh, but as I'm leaving, once again, they check my glasses, they make me pull out all my pockets and all of that. It wasn't until it was probably a good 10 minutes after I finished the test and it said I was done that I got my results. And that's just basically as one foot was at the door, is when they're like, oh, here's a piece of paper for you. Like they didn't care, right? So and that's what it said. Also, just note that when you pass the exam, you provisionally pass. It's not a hard pass. So that means that there's still time for ISC to review that information and say that you failed.
Or
And
look for
that's
suspicious. If you
yeah,
answer every single question correct, they're
yeah.
probably gonna take another look at that.
Yeah, so just note that, they're and then you'll get confirmation from them. I think mine, it was about a week or so later is when I found out that I officially passed. But just know that it does take time, and even though you passed the exam, and it says that on that piece of paper that you passed, it's provisionally passed, not full pass at the end.
That's a great point, Brian, because that provisional pass kind of like that created an additional layer of anxiety for me for a
Mhm.
while where I'm coming back and I'm Googling it and, stumbled across a Reddit thread where they're like, oh, yeah, that's typical. Everybody's the provisional pass. And yeah, maybe a week or two. And then, hey, yeah, you're good to go. Because I think they actually have cameras in the
Mhm.
testing station to like they're watching your eye movements. They're making sure there is no cheating involved.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
it took quite a while after I passed mine for the endorsement and everything to be completed. I think I waited about 6 weeks after I
Yeah.
submitted like proof of employment and all that stuff. So um,
So
long enough that I was starting to get a little worried about it. But eventually it came back all right.
So that's another good point to talk about is the endorsement process. So once you do pass the test, you then have to have someone with a CISSP endorse you to get your CISSP. So what happens is they give you the provisionally passed information. They eventually will send you information saying, hey, you've passed, we're full pass. Then it's like they'll give you how to get an endorsement. We do have a link that's in Discord. You can request an endorsement from us. We can go through that process for you, or if you know someone with the CISSP, they can do your endorsement. So basically, it's going through and proving that you have the job experience is what the endorsement process is. So just a note, when we do that, we're looking for basically a resume from you showing what your job experience is.
And if you pass but don't, we have said, you just don't have the experience yet, you still become an associate of ISC squared, and you have 5 years to make up that experience, and then you can reapply to become a full CISSP.
And you also have to verify that you have the experience. I think I used my performance reports and evaluations to show that I had covered all 8 domains and had the 5 years experience. So be prepared to do that, because I think it took me probably a few days to get it, enter in all the information so that I could actually apply for it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good point. You have to not only do you have to send your experience to a CISSP for endorsement, you have to fill that out on the website too.
Yeah, you do. Just a couple of notes. So, Riker, good point. Wear comfy clothes when you go. You don't have to dress up or anything. Wear what's good for you. So when is it no longer provisional? It's when they email you saying they're going to give you information saying, hey, you're fully passed, and that's when the endorsement process starts. After that, so let's see. Riker, once again, dude, you don't read Reddit and all those people saying like, oh, I did it. It was easy. They're either lying or they're lying. Nobody does it that quickly. And if they're very few people that can do it, they've had experience, or they've got where you remember everything.
Oh, yeah, photographic memory.
Yeah, that's the only way, right? My uncle could do that. Like, he'd look at something once and he'd remember what it was 20 years later. He remembered every single little detail of everything. It was crazy. Let's see. So I paid online for mine. So I'm pretty sure I paid online for mine. So what you do is when you go to take the test, you have to sign up for a membership through ISC, and create your profile or what have you there. And then once you do that, you then put into that you're going for the ISP, and then you set up your test through there.
Yep.
And that's how they track you. That's how they know who you are. That's how they know, that you've taken the test, that or how to contact you once it's done. I will say, if you're planning on your certificate when you eventually get it, having depending on your name and what you want it to say on there, make sure that's the name that you set up with ISC at the very beginning. Because say, for instance, for mine, I just set it up for Brian Kelly, and I wanted my middle initial on there because Brian Kelly's are a dime a dozen. We're all over the place, so I wanted that one little letter there. So, but like when I asked them to do that, they're like, no. And I'm like, well, is there any chance you can do it? And I basically had to go through a whole process just to have them put my middle initial on the certificate, which it was a pain, but it was well worth it in my opinion. So, oh, you're joking about the endorsement, cash or check? Well, either way, I'm good on either. I also take other things like
Venmo.
Steam credit, Venmo, that kind of stuff. So anything else about the test, about preparing for the test? There's a lot of good resources that have been posted from the test, I will say, and I'll dig up some links for you guys. I know it's a little bit older since I did this 4 years ago, but Inside Cloud and Security and Destination Certification, both on YouTube, were huge resources for me that I used all of the time. I know that Destination Certifications, they have a book out now, and they've expanded a lot. That was not there when I was using them, so it's they had a lot of good information then, and I hear the same now of them.
I studied for about 7 months after I took the boot camp. And then, like I said, I was just sick and tired of it. I had to bully myself mentally through it to get through it. But one thing I did not study at all the day before I tested. I took a mental break and just stepped away from it, listen to some music, relaxed in a way that, is for me. So I would recommend, you do that. Give yourself a bit of a mental break. But I did read the cheat sheet right before I went into the test.
The other thing, don't change your answer. You're more likely to get it wrong if you change it. Go with your gut.
Unless you picked the wrong answer. Like, for a fact, like, oh, crap, I clicked the wrong
Oh
one,
yeah,
reading
I
it
accidentally
wrong.
clicked something, but yeah, if you're not sure, go with your gut.
I agree. That was a testing strategy I learned in the Air Force because I didn't have any good test taking strategies at all. They taught me how to take tests, and like I said, 60% of people who change the answer, they changed it from the wrong one.
Yep.
Cool. In that case, if we don't have anything else to say, we can go ahead and get CCQ up here and we can start doing some practice questions if you guys are
Oh,
interested.
my favorite part where we embarrass ourselves.
Yeah, that's very true. So this is also good. Like I said, there is a discount code for this FRSecure, all caps. I think it's 10%, maybe 15. Brad might have.
I'm not sure it what in the past it's 10%, and then during the boot camp it was 15. So while the boot
Gotcha.
camp would go ongoing, but I don't know if they did that this year.
Gotcha. So this is CCQ. As you guys can see, I'm already logged in. So like I said, I use this extensively when I was studying. It does look like they've updated it a bit here. As you guys can see here, we only use this about once or so a year, maybe a little bit more often, usually when we're doing this. So do you guys have a preference of how do we do this? I'm going to go ahead and create a new quiz here. And I figured we'd do study mode so that way we can look at the answers immediately as we're going through this. We're going to cover all domains. So, and just sort of a promotional material here. So this is CCQ. These are the options that you guys can get if you guys are using CCQ. So you guys can narrow this down by like specific domains if you want to get into specific domains and such, or topics within those domains. It's actually quite extensive. There's also different levels. I always went for pro, and also the amount of questions. So if you guys want to sit there and simulate taking 100 test questions, you definitely can. Also, test mode is you go through, you answer all of the questions, and then you get scored at the end, as opposed to study mode, where you can actually see the answer right away. So that way you know if it's correct or not.
So the other thing I would say, Brian, is once you get going, what I ended up doing is I would check the boxes for questions that were answered wrong previously and unattempted questions only. But that was probably the last couple of months leading up to the exam, because I mean, I literally probably my personal CCQ has, I think I did like 4,000 questions or something absurd. So I was just saying, I only want to know what I got wrong or I haven't seen yet, because if I've gotten it right, I'm good.
Yep.
No, there are other, I think, drop down the study area, Brian.
Which area?
That right there, where the main study area, where it's right. Yeah. Yeah. So they do have the other, somebody asked in chat, is it only CISSP? But they do have other, I did use them for my CISM as well. I was pretty much, I took my CISSP in September, my CISM in October.
Damn, dude. All right, here we go. We're just going to do 10 for now, and we'll see what happens on the other end, because we tend to get wordy and chatty on these. So just note that even though you have all of us up here that are doing this, we've gone through CISSP, we'll probably get some of these wrong. Just as a note on that. And then that's what Brad was referring to earlier as being embarrassed about getting something wrong on here. So it'll happen.
Is the discount code case sensitive?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so, yeah.
All caps?
Yep.
All right. Like I said, if you guys want to throw answers in chat, ask questions as we go through, I will show you the answer as we go through this once we have it. What we can do here is, if we want to go for rounds here and someone read the question and give us the answer, we can do it that way. I can
Sticky
I can
bits.
read it. Sticky bits already?
All my
Wow, that
bits.
was quick.
All my bits are sticky, dog.
Oh, good deal.
Yep.
All right. So are we just going with that?
No,
No,
that's not the right answer.
Rimden.
But
Damn. We got one
Rimden.
wrong.
I knew that. I was like, what is he doing?
All right. So which of the following refers to the data left of the media or left on the media after it's erased? Is it remnants, semi-hidden, or recovery?
That's remnants.
Remnants. That's the one that popped out. So just test taking tips here. I know that we've said this before, but I want to get it out there again. Generally, when you are sitting in front of a CISSP question, when you read the answers, two of them, for the most part, can be immediately eliminated. Read through, hey, this is definitely not it. Hey, this is definitely not it. And you're left with two answers, which will probably be very, very similar to each other. And then that you can eliminate those two, and then you're left with the other ones. And then read the question again and say, okay, which one of these questions is the best answer for this? Because both of them might be right, but they're going to ask you for the best answer on those.
Most correct.
Yep.
it reminds
I
me of
think
a song by, I think it was The Who, Remnants Front.
Can't say I know that one.
Crickets. I don't know.
No, it's actually Eminence Front. But
Okay.
I'm too old, man. I took this test 22 years ago now.
You're not old,
Yeah, right.
just experienced. Just saying. I'm saying that because I went to a birthday party for a friend that was one of the big ones, and I'm just like, dang, I'm not far behind him. So anyway,
I mean, when I'm your age, Evan, I'll have had it for almost that long. I'll have had it 20 years.
Yeah,
So thanks.
right on, brother.
all right. So I'm gonna go slowly on this one just so that you guys can see. So as you can see here in FR or in CCCure, this is what you get out of this. So they give you an explanation. They also, for the most part, they'll tell you what's not correct. Sometimes they'll give you a bit of an explanation here as well. So, and this must be a new one that there's references here now too, because this wasn't here when I was using it.
Yeah, no, they usually have that. Now, maybe it's not a link, but there should be I remember having references.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. Next up, does someone want to take this, or do you guys want me to read it? How do you guys want to do this?
Round robin.
Robin, who's up next then? John, I nominate you.
All right. Referential integrity requires that for any foreign key attribute, the reference relation must have a tuple with the same value for which of the followings. Well, it's not foreign key. Gosh, is it secondary or a candidate? Because it's primary. Oh gosh.
So
I'm gonna go with candidate.
I like it's primary, isn't it?
Really?
Yeah,
I
it's
agree with
primary.
primary key.
I would have gone with primary as well.
Okay.
Because because referential integrity is within a database, right? So you're having the same. You want to reference that primary key across multiple tables or databases or whatever.
I think that was covered in chapter 20, the one that I just did, and I thought tuples was something to do with secondaries.
So this is another great teaching point. When you guys see something like this and you're like, what's a tuple? Highlight that and left click and Google search that and find out what it is, because you'll need to know.
I had tuples for breakfast with my chilaquiles.
You're making me hungry, man. That's not fair.
Right on. Let's do it. Let's eat. That's why I'm not sharing my screen. I'm still in the pool.
Hey. All right. Next up, who wants this one?
I'll grab it before I read it. Which answer is an IDS that compares no normal traffic or network usage within a bit to determine if something inappropriate occurred? Well, it's not going to be
Dynamical. I've never even heard of dynamical before.
No, I know. It's not dynamical.
The
It's not
dynamical
secret
duo.
based. I'm going to go with inferential anomaly based.
Well, I'm going with statistical.
You think?
Sure.
Oh,
So
yeah,
basi-
you're right. Because the known normal with an event, yeah, you're comparing it to a baseline. Yeah,
Nice.
good catch. Thank you, Evan.
I'm here for you, brother.
All right. Next up.
Which of the following is most likely to be used in detecting intrusions? Is it security labels, information security policies, audit trails, or access control lists? I think for detecting here, I'm going to go with audit trails, so we can see what was intruded upon.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah.
That's if you go review your logs.
If it's being logged,
True.
All right. Next up, I got this one. What does the star integrity axiom mean for the BIBA model? Wow.
I'm
This is
glad you
one of
got
those
that one.
things. Yeah, this is one of those things that I memorized for about 10 days and then immediately got out of my mind after I took the test. So is it no read
Bib,
up, no
BIBA
write?
integrity.
Bibba's got the I in it, so it's
Yeah.
integrity.
It's integrity?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we want to know if
The
it's read
difference
up or
in,
down.
well, so
That's gonna be
just logically think through it. Like if you wanted to protect data integrity, you wouldn't want to be able to write up, right?
gotcha.
Because you want to protect the data integrity of something at a higher level.
And then the star is the opposite, so it would be no read down, correct?
Yeah, I think so. That's the part I always get mixed up is the axioms. But
I
if,
think it's no
if I
read.
were taking the test, I'd go. If I were taking the test, I'd do no write up, but I don't.
Is it no write
Oh,
up?
yeah, I got it
I get
back.
the
Yeah, you're
axioms.
right. You're right. Yeah. See,
Nice. Yes.
that sucks. I hate that. I hate BIBA.
All right. So nice work, guys. Thank you for talking that one through. I appreciate it. Also, thank you to those in chat as well who were putting that in there too. All right, next one.
This one I'm supposed to do.
Go for it, man. It's all yours.
Which of the following answers best describes the situation when an attacker duplicates the connection identity of the victim in order to steal data? Session hunting, session stealing, session hijacking, or TCP session? The only one that's actually an attack it's session hijacking.
Session
It's the only
hijacking.
one that's actually an attack on here.
Yeah. How come Evan got the easy one?
You know,
I don't
winning.
know.
I'm just giving her a rough time.
I will say that be prepared for things like this. We've seen it a couple of times now where they give you something that sounds like maybe it could be something, but it's not. I remember that a couple times on mine where it's like I saw something, it's like I've never heard of this, or this just doesn't, it doesn't look right, or like dynamical, for
It'd
instance.
be very similar.
Yeah.
If you're not paying attention, it's easy to misclick and get the wrong one.
Yep. All right. Next one here, number 7.
whose turn is it?
Whoever wants it.
I think it's John's.
Yeah.
All right.
John got a PKI question last time, or I guess it was database.
Database.
It was database, yeah. Which component in a PKI system issues certificates, that's going to be certificate authority, I think, to be used to prove the identity of people or systems on a network and encrypt messages between them? So is it the certificate authority or is it the registration authority?
No such thing as registration
Okay.
authority. So you got it right.
Are you sure RA is not a thing? I thought there was.
No, no,
Okay.
not PKI.
All right. CA.
Cool. So once
CA.
again, I do want to point out here that domain controller and public key infrastructure are two things that you can immediately discount here, because your domain controller is not going to be doing that for you unless you have a certificate authority on it. But it doesn't handle certificates in that fashion. And then public key infrastructure is, while it is certificate related, it is not the authority.
Registration authorities actually are a real thing.
Yeah,
On
they
page
are, but
288 of the book,
Oh,
it says that they assist the CAs.
yeah.
So
and
we can look
immediate.
at our handy information here and be like, yeah, man. All right,
Hell yeah.
moving right along here. All right, I'll get this one.
What's Kubernetes?
Kubernetes, it's a thing. It's in your cabinets.
Oh, weird.
Right. Kubernetes K8s is an open source system for automating deployment, scaling, and management of containerized applications. Advantages of containerization include all except. So one of the key things here is reading what they're asking you. So we want to know what the advantages is except. So one of these is not going to be an advantage.
And
So
yeah, there's only one that is phrased as not an advantage,
yeah,
at
relies
least
on
in my opinion.
Yeah.
So it relies on operating system, package manager, application-centric management, cloud and OS distribution portability, and agile application creation and development. So this is continuation.
It's a
It's A. So that's not an advantage. It's, oh, I get it. So that's not an advantage. Okay,
it's not an advantage. Yeah.
there you go. It
We're
is.
doing pretty good so far. I don't
We
feel
are.
like we've embarrassed each other.
No, I'm gonna drop off after this one so I can keep my record.
There you go.
All right. What is the primary purpose? I'm sorry, I'm stepping on someone's toes here. Who wants this one?
I don't know whose turn it is, but I'll take it. What is the primary purpose of dynamic application security testing? Is it A, to monitor application performance during stress testing, to identify vulnerabilities in running applications by simulating attacks, to analyze source code for security flaws without executing it, or to encrypt data transmitted between application and users? So we can kind of immediately get rid of A and D here. We're not monitoring performance during stress testing. We're not monitoring, it's not being used to encrypt data. C is not right because it specifies without executing it, and since it's dynamic, we are executing it. So it would have to be B, to identify vulnerabilities in a running application by simulating attacks.
C would be if it said static testing. But
Nice. All right. Moving along to number 10.
all right, I'll jump on this one. Manufacturing company is introducing industrial IoT devices to its production line. Management is concerned about securing these devices and ensuring they do not introduce vulnerabilities. What is the best testing approach? Monitor IoT device activity using a network traffic analyzer. Conduct a security assessment focused on IoT device vulnerabilities. I can't talk. Deploy an IPS to block unauthorized access to IoTs, and then require all IoT devices to use strong passwords and encryption. I would say, which is the best testing approach? Well, so that testing is the key there, because requiring the devices to use strong passwords and encryption would be a good thing, but that's not testing. I'm going to go with B because it says testing. So conduct a security assessment focused on IoT device vulnerabilities.
Yep. So before I hit the answer on this one, I do want to point out, so all of these are good things
Yeah.
to do, but you need make sure you understand what they're actually asking you in the question here. So we're going to conduct a security assessment. So I agree 100% on that one. Cool. All right. So that should be the questions here. Submit for grading, which we got them all correct because we did. Who? Congratulations.
Ooh.
So, and then you'll get a summary here. So one of the nice things about this is if you are using the testing version of this, like, and you're not getting the answers right away, this will go through and it'll give you scoring by domains and topics and such. So
And
once
also give you
again,
your time at the top there and how long it took you per question, so you can understand where you're at.
the and this can help you break down areas where you are weak in terms of studying and where you need to go back and say maybe look into something specific. So I do want to show, we'll go study mode statistics over here. It gives you some cool information. If you look here, so it's going to give you some high level stuff like, but if you go down, score per domains. So this is a good way to look at it where you can come in here. Now these are all high,
We're good.
but you can come in here and be like, hey, I'm not good in domain 4, and identify that as maybe that's somewhere where you need to go back and study some more or look over that specific domain or use the options in here to specifically get questions on that domain to identify those areas. So,
And I like at the very bottom, you can filter it by dates. So that's what I used, is to say, I just want to see the last 2 months when I was really prepping and I had the exam scheduled to see where I was at. I didn't care about the ones prior to that where I was, still learning, so to speak.
gotcha. All right. So we got through that. Do we want to do another one?
Yeah, sure.
Do
Heck
100
yeah.
full test.
We still have like an hour left.
Yeah, we do, huh? All right, well, we'll go in again. So we'll continue the same. Let's do we want to do answers that were previously wrong or unattempted questions? That way we get some new ones. Although I guess it doesn't matter because we're mostly new on this one.
I was gonna say, we've done so many quizzes.
Yep. All right, here we go. Who wants to shove us off here?
I'll grab that one. Controls like guards, high fences, floodlights, and similar measures to maintain building security, securing of server rooms or laptops, the protection of network cables, and usage of magnetic card readers on doors and windows are some of the examples of logical controls, physical controls, administrative controls, or technical controls. Well, it's physical because you can touch those.
Yep. I agree. Nice. Softball on that one. Cool. All right, next up.
I nominate John because he got the database one last time. I'm kidding.
You suck, Brad.
I'll take this one. With regard to databases, which of the following has characteristics of ease of reusing code and analysis and reduced maintenance? Is it object-oriented databases, relational databases, object relational databases, or database management system? I think it's database management system here because it's talking about reusing code and analysis.
I think it's OODB.
I think that's where I was leaning too, but
Because I think
that's my second guess. I'm not sure though.
the analysis is kind of thrown. The reusing code would be object oriented, but the analysis is where I'm not remembering that.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm going with you, Jacob, on your first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
See if it's right.
So which one am I hitting here?
Yeah.
DBMS.
All right.
Oh
Now-
shit.
Object oriented.
It is
Object oriented?
object. Yeah.
There you go.
That analysis is what is.
I mean, I
hard.
guess you could run queries to see speed and things. Okay.
So I'm not a database guy, so I'm not going to guess on that one. Well, say that this is why. All right. I'll grab this one. What is the main concern when reviewing a reciprocal disaster recovery agreement between two companies? So just to lay some basis on this one is reciprocal. So basically you have an agreement with some other organization that, hey, if we have a disaster, you guys are going to help us out. One of the ones that was presented to me, I've actually heard of in my IT life was printing companies. Say, for instance, you have these big printing facilities and they make these agreements. Well, hey, if we have some sort of issue, we can use your printers for our jobs type of deal. So we've got hardware. What's that?
Universities I work with universities that do the same thing.
So we've got hardware and software compatibility, the differences in policies and procedures, frequency of system testing, and the soundness of the business impact analysis. So what is the main concern in reviewing a typical disaster recovery agreement between two companies? So I would say I don't think it's the frequency of system testing. Maybe the some of business impact. I'd say probably the difference is policies and procedures because they're going to be doing things differently. Like each group has their own sort of policies and procedures. So any thoughts on that one before I click it?
Second that emotion.
Second.
Main concern. My only hesitation is the compatibility piece, because if you can't run your stuff on their equipment, it's not gonna, what good is it? But I'm not convinced enough to overrule you.
Gotcha. Okay. We'll see what happens. Oh, see, is it hardware? Yeah, thanks, Brad.
Wow.
Nice. Good call. I can see where that makes sense, though. I was thinking since it was focusing on the agreement, I was thinking more documentation than anything else was my thought process. Next up, moving on. Anybody?
I can take this one. Which access model is most appropriate for companies with a high employee turnover? Is it role-based access control, lattice-based access control, discretionary access control, or mandatory access control? I'm going to go with role-based access control in this instance because it would be easy to apply a broad set of permissions based on the employee's role.
I agree. CSecure agrees as well. Nice. All right. Next up, question 5.
Oh,
Which of the following is not a valid certification rule ensuring integrity monitoring in the Clark-Wilson access control model? Transformational procedures operate only on unconstrained data items. Accesses are logged. Constrained data items are consistent. Duties are separated. It's not a valid certification rule.
there's one word that makes me have an answer.
I'm going to say A.
Yeah, unconstrained. That's what gives it away.
All the other ones seemed that things that you would want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're valid. So that's why I went with that one.
I would think that accesses are logged and duties are separated or things that they're going to be there no matter what, and it's not specific to that. So it would have led me to the data items, but my question would have been which one.
Yeah, that unconstrained is the key there.
Gotcha. All right. So note, ladies and gentlemen, Clark Wilson, unrestrained or unconstrained data items. Next, question 6.
All right, which backup type run at regular intervals? Wait, which backup type run at regular intervals would take the most time to complete restoration? Ooh, it would be incremental because you have to restore the full and then every incremental sense.
All right. See, yes, indeed it is. So, good time to point out that you do want to know the differences between these backup types. A disk mirroring is generally or is more of a RAID thing than an actual backup thing, which RAID is not backup. Just note on that. Not the same as a backup. So you want to know what what the differences between a full backup, differential backup, and incremental backups are, and then why you would want to use those types of backups. Just as a note for that, generally you're going to have a full backup, and then that's like say once a week maybe, and then you have differentials or incrementals after that. Generally, there are variations on that, but you'll want to know that. It's very testable. All right, next up.
Oh, Evan, this is all you.
Oh, okay. What was
I
it?
speed you up.
During an ICMP flood attack, which value in the incoming packets must be spoofed to make it nearly impossible to trace the origin of the attack. Origin would designate source, right? But we'll go through on why the other ones aren't, right? Destination, MAC address. You would know that the only thing that would know the destination MAC address would be the resolution at either the firewall or the router, right? For that local network. Source MAC address, that's going to be irrelevant. Destination IP address, that's your target. So source IP address. That's an easy one.
I so told you I teach you up.
I appreciate that, man. You're nice.
It's just as a note as we're going through this, make sure you always read the question. I recommend reading it twice, but read all of the answers. Like you could hear Evan, he already had source IP address keyed up there, like as he was going through it, but he still went through and looked at each one of those answers.
Yeah, and that's important because just in case you find a better answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly that. Moving along.
Besides, an ICMP flood attack is a really stupid attack. I don't know why we would do that one.
So this is a good one. I'll let Jacob. You can. I think you were going to volunteer.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep track, but I'm probably doing a bad job.
Well, I was just going to say one thing on these. When you see a big paragraph and then the question in bold, read the question to see if you even need to read the paragraph.
Yeah. This type of counter against catastrophic drive failure is the most popular and can tolerate the loss of any single drive. RAID 0, RAID 5, RAID 10, RAID 2. Do you have your different RAIDs memorized? It's not RAID 0. I'm thinking it's RAID 10 in this instance because it has striping and redundancy, if I'm remembering correctly.
No.
No.
RAID 5 because
Yeah.
they're going to say popular because RAID 10 is going to be more expensive. And it's saying a single drive. It doesn't say the loss of multiple drives. So RAID 5.
And for the students, I mean, RAID 0 has no redundancy, right? That's just striping, no parity. RAID 5, striping with parity. RAID 10 is a combination of a mirrored striping with no parity. So that actually, yeah, that's a shitty configuration because now you've doubled. You still got the redundancy in the mirroring, but you've doubled one of the mirrors going to shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And RAID 2 is actually, they deprecated that. That was with a parity block instead of a bit, I think, or some weird shit.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, RAID 5 is your biggest one because that's the popular and the single drive because like Evan said, RAID 10 doubles the cost.
Yeah.
Funny story. I thought so. I had a computer as a gaming computer. It's the first actual gaming computer I ever bought. It had RAID 0 on it because I wanted it to be fast, right? I thought it was so cool that I named my Eve character RAID 0. Yeah, because he felt old school on me in terms of gaming. But yeah, so it was RAID 5, right? So we're going. So, yeah. Cool. Once again, I know the last backup question, it had that mirrored answer, which is part of RAID, which we see here, but also know the different types of RAID as well. Once again, very testable. All right. Next up, question 9. We've got another big one here. I'll go ahead and jump on this one. Select the best answer that illustrates the types of potential failures with biometric systems. So there's a whole paragraph here. Once again, as Brad said, read the question first of what they're actually asking you. You can generally then determine if you actually need to read all the information, or if nothing else, it'll tell you what you're looking for, because these questions are going to have a lot of information in them that you probably don't need. So the best answer that illustrates the types of potential failures in biometric systems, we get user receptiveness, where users reject the intrusion of biometric systems and the system fails. Overly restrictive, where legitimate users are rejected and overly permitting, where imposters are permitted access. False rejections, where legitimate users are rejected, and false acceptance, where imposters are permitted access. False acceptance, where legitimate users are rejected, and false rejections, where imposters are permitted access. So there's a lot going on this one. and we're looking for the best answer that illustrates the types of potential failures with biometric systems. I'm going to go with overly restrictive, where users, I didn't mean to click it,
No,
but I'd be
it's
wrong.
false.
So
It's false. Overly
it's false
restricted.
rejections.
Yeah. So it's that you had the right concept, but that's the language. It's overly restrictive. It's false rejection and false acceptance is the language.
Gotcha. Yeah.
You had the right. You had the right answer, but that's a really good example of you have to read the question and know the language in the book because yeah, Brian, you're exactly right. It is overly restrictive, but that's not the official
Yeah,
terminology.
that's not the language that they use for it.
Yep.
So yeah, I did that on purpose so that you guys could see to point that out. Totally.
I meant to do that.
Yeah, totally meant to do that. So once again, we do have another question where we didn't even have to read all of this. We could jump to it. Although I will say in the test, make sure that when you're looking it over, if it doesn't make sense, make sure you read the question. Although there could be a lot of information that could take a lot of time, you don't want to have something as simple as just missing a little detail get you a false answer. All right, and question 10.
Which term is both a business function and a technical model that exists in both policy and standards? That is a weird question. Which term is both a business function and a technical model that exists in both policy and standards? That's an interesting one. I'm not sure if it's A or D.
I'm thinking program charter. I don't know. That's a tough one.
I was thinking A as well.
Let's go with A.
Because a roadmap, you wouldn't really have it. A program charter would just be.
Yeah, that's not a technical model. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. And also same thing like roadmap, it wouldn't be in both places. Program scope would just be the scope of a program, generally not programming standards or policy and standards. Nice job. Let's find out if we actually got anything right here, which we did. We got them all right, right? Cool.
I mean, if
So
we could only take the exam as a group, we'd ace this bad boy.
heck yeah, man. Group exams would be awesome.
That question sucked. I agree with Brian.
So I do want to state as we are in here in CCSecure. So CCSecure, it is great. Like I said, it's the engine that I use for practice questions for the most part. I also there was practice test question book that I had gotten. There's some of the stuff you can find it free out there, but there's also a bunch of other sources that you can get for practice questions that are out there. Honestly, each one has its pluses and minuses. So if you have the ability to do different versions of it, it's worth looking into. Also, a lot of them will offer you free trials as well. So you can go into one and be like, does this one work for me?
So real quick, Brian, somebody asked if the questions are equally weighted. It's not weighted so much. It's you have to answer enough correct for whatever the algorithm is to be sure that you are either confident within X degree that you will pass or fail the exam. So you'll get, if you answer them all correctly and you get whatever percentage correct, that's it. So there's not an actual weight or anything to the questions. They make it more difficult, but you have to answer the correct number.
Are we still able to see the summary from the questions that we just took?
I believe we should
go to quiz history there.
Just FedEx wanted to know the explanation on number 10, the last one that we did.
Nope.
So
boo.
I thought you could actually go and you look at
all right, is that it right there? Scroll down.
Oh, yeah, it is. So can we just
Yeah, click next. Oh, and then yeah, you have to go through all of them.
Man, I want to jump, man.
I think that thinking about it, it's it's a function and technical model that's looking through it. That's the only one that yeah.
Yeah, that's my thought is that it's exactly that. You could both use that as a security model and also like
I think that yeah, it's a technical model for the enterprise and a technical model to maintain.
Look at the why they say the following answers are incorrect too. If you scroll down a little bit.
Yeah.
cool. Anything else that we wanted to see there before we kick off the next one?
I think we're good.
Or are we talking about Van Halen? I know. All right. So there's other types of questions here. We've only been getting multiple choice, but
Do multiple response. Yeah, let's do some of we'll do just yeah, leave all domains, just do 10. Some of them they don't have because I think the select question type is for
oh yeah, so there's not a ton of them here. So
yeah, but it's good to go through it. Well, and I think when you have that drop down question type, it's for like all their tests that they have or all the search that they have tests for.
all right. So these ones are always crazy to me because you don't know how many they're looking for here. Drives me nuts.
Yeah,
But I guess that's the point, right? So
I'll grab this one because we've been working IR. We're having people in it. So, regards to computer forensics, which of the following choices are digital tracks that get left behind on a device, similar to the footprints of the end user or hacker, and what are they used for? Choose all that apply. Well, Retina is not, that's out. Uh, Text messages, maybe. Fingerprint? No, I'm going to say system logs is the only one that there is going to be correct.
so it's wanting something else, and
Fingerprint?
because
Get rid of system? Oh, it's okay. Interesting. There you go. I would not have guessed text messages. Let's look at the summary on that one.
I was gonna say let's look at the summary on that and see because maybe they're
Oh,
looking.
okay. So they're just looking for artifacts in general. I would, because a text message and a system log are not going to, I don't think iOS or Android consider it their logs system logs, but maybe. Okay, so it's good to know if they're saying the digital, it's any artifact, any technical artifact. That's good to know.
Gotcha. Interesting. All right, and
Oh, Clement
all those
submitted that
there.
one.
All right. Well, there we go. We've got the one. Did we
Let's just pick the next type of question.
yeah, I was gonna say do the next type of question. So oh, multiple choice maybe is what we're no,
No, that's what the most of the ones we've had are.
can we do multiple? We can't do multiples of
No.
these.
So fill the blank.
All right, fill in the blank. Let's see what we get. Oh, there are none here.
None. Okay. Yeah, like I said, because of it's and it maybe that it's pro that it's the other questions. Actually, let's do fill the blank and change the difficulty level so we can actually show people. Yeah, let's do go scroll up. I think it's all right. Isn't there what it's like? Yeah, let's just start with let's just do rookie.
Rookie. All right.
I don't know. We'll see.
So
Maybe not having.
do we want to try multiple response on that one?
No, let's just do fill the blank. I think it's more important for the people. It doesn't. I don't. No, no more questions. Okay, yeah, let's go back to pro and just go to the next one then. It may be that there's not that type on
This type of
this certification. There should be matching drag drop.
actually drag drop. And no,
Oh, interesting. All right. Well, let's go to. I wonder, do they still have the old CDK? Oh, uh-oh.
interesting. Did we
Oh,
break
there.
it?
You there?
Yeah. Am I dropping out?
Oh, yeah, you're back now. You froze up there for a second, it looked like.
Let's refresh this because this happened about that time. There we go. All right.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is really important. There's a nice way to remember this. A is ash. That's the result of it. B is boil. C is computer.
Combustibles, I
Must-
believe.
Is it? Yeah, and then D is K is kitchen, and then D is the other one. So we know K is the oil, cooking oils. B boil. A is ash. No, so it's D is no, C
Oh.
is, yeah, that's electrical because C is computer. That's how you
Oh,
remember that. And then A is common combustibles and D is flammable metals.
D is
And notice
flammable.
it does change your order when you move these around, so double check your answers. But A is ash, B is boil, C is computer, K is kitchen, and D is anything else.
Gotcha. So, and there will be, it's not just all multiple choice on the exam. There will be variations on this. I know that we've only seen multiple choice here. I believe there's true and false on there.
Hmm.
Um,
D
and I
for
believe,
dense metal. Well, you got your cooking oils and fats and flammable metals got flipped. See, you got to be careful.
yeah, I think that my internet's being shaky. So I apologize. Are you guys able to hear me okay?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So just a note, so on the test itself, it's not all multiple choice. There are different types of choice. Say, for instance, I believe there's true and false on there. There are questions like this on there. Or I think there was even one where it's like there's different areas that you need to
Yep.
like
They'll have
place
a
systems to.
diagram, and you have to click and on the different ones. We'll go through all those, though. I think we can rock through some of these different types really quick.
Cool. So then,
The,
is there a way
So
to actually check this? Or didn't we not do the,
there's just a show answer.
so show answer?
Common combustible oils, flammable metals, and then electrical. So
Cool. So, calculations, Charles, yes. There's a decent chance that you're going to have to calculate risk
why?
and expected loss expectancy and such. So you will need to know those calculations. All right. So we should have 8 questions. Let's see. Can we move to the next one? Maybe. Apparently not. Oh, no, we did. Okay, cool. All right. Ooh, so ports. So, Evan, you still there with us, man? Oh, did we lose Evan?
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
I was just playing piano there for a minute.
Okay.
What's the question?
We've got some ports that we need to associate with their proper protocol.
Okay, HTTPS, that's 443. NetBIOS, that's 137, 139. Kerberos, 636. No, sorry.
No.
That's 389. My bad. 636 is secure LDAP and LDAP 88. Wait, I'm all fucked up here. Is that right?
Yeah.
BIOS, Kerberos. Yeah, there you go.
Awesome. All right. So we'll show answer just to make sure. So let's see. They don't make these ones super easy to read out, do
No.
they?
We might just have to.
So just the order. So 443, 137, 88. So this is saying that Kerberos
Oh,
is 88,
What did I say?
389.
389. We got those LDAP and.
All right. Yeah, there you go.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It's really mixed up. No worries. All right, let's move on to the next one here. Oh, big one.
Ooh.
So, and you notice here that we're not even reading the questions on this one. We're just going in and just doing it, which I wouldn't suggest. All right. So let's see. This one we might need to read the question for. So cloud computing is a model for enabling ubiquitous, convenient, on-demand network access to a shared pool of configurable computing sources, network service, storage applications, and services that can be rapidly provisioned and released with minimal management, effort, or service provider interaction. The cloud model is composed of 5 essential characteristics, 3 service models, and 4 deployment models. So using your mouse, select the proper value listed in the right, move the values on the right side up and down to properly match with each of the values listed on the left. So fairly straightforward. So really, we only need to read that last sentence. So I guess the key here is probably reading what is on the right and then seeing what's on the left here. So capabilities are available over the network and access through standard mechanisms that promote use of heterogeneous thin or thick platforms. I'm over the network. I would say that'd probably be resource pooling.
yeah.
I was thinking that one's broad network access.
I think it's broad network access.
No. Okay. I was backwards. I'm like, wait, what? That's not on demand. What do you? I gotcha. I'm tracking now.
Gotcha. So, oh, I get you. So, capabilities can be elastically provisioned. So that's going to be rapid elasticity.
Yeah. So what I would do, the way I would do it is I read through all of those because there's going to be certain ones that you're gonna like get. So I read through the ones on the left, and then I read through all of those ones on the right. That's what threw me off because you may not know all of them or be confident, but there could be ones that like on-demand self-service. Well, consumer can unilaterally provision computing. That is what that is. So that immediately eliminates something else from being that answer. Does that make
Gotcha.
sense?
So, and doesn't help on this one that it moves things around when you move things around either. So that goes there. At least it looks like it.
No, I would say that would be on-demand self-service because the consumer is doing it.
Gotcha. So up here then.
Yep.
All right. So then so which one would you go for first? Would you say just like work your way top to bottom on these and move them around? That way,
That's
if
why
it moves,
I read both sides and the process of elimination go, oh, I know that this is this, right? And so like um you knew the rapid elasticity one, right? That's another good one. So now we're down to 3 that we're trying to work through. Excuse me. And then I look at that bottom one, and the word pooled is in it. So I know that's resource pooling. So now it's down to a 50-50 shot on the last one or the last 2. And yeah, make sure you move it back and forth. So now reading through those last 2, we got broad network access or measured service, and to say, okay, capabilities available over the network and access. Okay, we see network, that makes sense. Measured service using a metering capability. Okay, we're good. We got lucky on where those dropped, but that's how I approach these is read through, know what the ones on the left are, and then look for those keywords or phrases in the answers, and maybe don't need to know all of them or be 100% confident, but we just walked through 3 of them and got down to a 50-50 chance, and then are able to take that extra time to read through and go, oh wait, network, I see network in both. Okay.
Gotcha. All right, cool. So this should be it then, right? Let's check here, see if it gives us. So let's see. Customer can move
Yeah.
unilaterally. Cool. Capabilities are available. So
it has them there. So yeah, on demand, broad network access, resource pooling, rapid elasticity, and measured cloud system. Yeah.
cool. Awesome. Nice.
It's like we've been doing this for a really long time.
Nah, you're just good at it. That's all. All right. Next up, our security control to its corresponding example. Oh, this is a good one.
Ooh, yeah, this is a great one.
Yes, it is. So, especially with the idea that sometimes some of these can kind of go between different areas.
Yeah, surveillance
So,
cameras can be deterrent and detective.
yep. So we've got deterrent controls, corrective controls, detective or preventative. Then over the right hand, surveillance cameras that discourage potential intruders. Which I'm just going to say, like, since it's saying discourage potential intruders, that's to me says it's deterrent. Backup system that helps restore data after an incident. That to me is a corrective control. Access control policies that restrict unauthorized users. I say maybe preventative. And then security information and event management system that alerts on suspicious activity. So that's detective. So let's say that's what I'm looking at here for these guys.
I would agree.
Cool. So correct order surveillance. Cool. Then we have, they actually have some really good, well, there's a lot of information here,
Yeah.
but they've got some good information where I do recommend you guys say, for instance, look at these controls and know and how to determine, like we said, some of these can be, depending on how it's used, it could be a different type of control. And to know how to look at that and determine which one of the controls that they want you to use this as is important. So we've got backup systems and then SIEM and then access control policies. So yeah, got that one. Cool. All right. Next up. It did not change. There we go. Ooh, matching terms to its description. So types of encryption. Anybody want to take a crack at this one?
I got it. Symmetric is going to be same key for both encryption and decryption. Hashing is where it should be. Pair of public and private keys, digital signature. Verify, wait a minute. Verifies the authenticity and integrity of a message document using a unique cryptic app. Wait a minute. Hold on. Because I think that's actually hashing.
Yeah.
Yeah, move the verifies the authenticity down to hashing. There, fix output. Wait a minute. This is weird. A pair of public and private keys for secure. So that's going to be asymmetric. A pair of public and private keys. Same key, public, private, fixed output. All right, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Good. Cool. I agree as well.
Let's go. We're gonna work through that one. That was the first 2 were easy. The second 2 I had to read several times too to be like, wait, what are they? But the key there is hashing is that fixed size output from input. That's your key on that one. But nice job.
Indeed it is. All right, we'll go ahead and move along here. The following transmission media with their primary security risk. So I'll go ahead and take this one. So we've got coaxial, Ethernet, wireless, and fiber optic cable. So easily intercepted without physical contact. I'm going to say that that's probably wireless. Limited to local network breaches. That sounds like Ethernet to me, since it's going to be local. Vulnerable to physical tapping or damage. That could be coaxial, but it could be also fiber optic. Susceptible to signal loss detection when tapped.
The susceptible to signal loss makes me think coax.
Mhm.
Think it's coax?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that,
for that one, and then vulnerable to physical tapping for fiber.
Yep. Yep.
yeah,
I like that order.
yep, I do too. Fiber optic is crazy. Like the I used to work for a company. It was a nonprofit in here in Southern California that basically, if you were going to be digging anywhere, you had to call them, and they'd have some of the utilities out
Mhm.
there to mark where their lines are at. And it's crazy, like how many lines are out there, especially like say fiber optic and such,
Oh
that
yeah.
you just wouldn't expect is out there. And some of the things that people do to secure that and all that, it's important, right?
I'll grab this one because it's easy.
Right.
Grouped is aggregates multiple users for simplified access. Roles are define permissions based on job function, and then swap the last two. There you go.
Cool. I agree.
I jumped in on the easy one.
All right. Match the following security teams to their focus area.
That's an easy
I don't
one
know
too.
this one. Yeah, I was gonna say this one's easy, probably easy too. Anybody want this?
Yeah, swap the first two, and the last one's already right.
Offensive and defensive. Yeah, I agree. Cool. So, these, as you guys can see, these are the drag and drop style of questions that you guys are going to see on the exam. I think that was the last one. Yeah. Submit for grading. Oh, look, we got them all right. Awesome. Right. So, with that, did we want to? Do you have something, Brad?
No, nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just go through the
So
next
did
one.
do we want to hit like true and false, or I mean that's pretty straightforward, right?
No, yeah, I mean we did a bunch of those already.
Are there true false questions on the test?
No, I'm sorry, not true false. It's just the multiple choice. I don't think.
Okay. I
Sorry.
didn't think I remembered any true false ones.
I've taken so many tests since then that I just might be misremembering what I was taking, but I thought there was.
There may be. I've slept so many times since then.
I don't. No, I don't think so. It's either multiple choice or what we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we've got some other different types here.
Let's do that hotspot.
Yeah, I was gonna say the hotspot, which I wonder how many of these
I
there
think there's
are.
only one or two.
So
Yeah,
yeah, so not a lot. Okay.
this is a
Who
good
wants?
one though.
Yeah. All right. Who wants it?
So scroll back up. Again, we don't need
Where's
to
the
read that.
where do you put the answer in?
You click it. So in
Oh,
this case, I'll take this one since I just did this. But so in this one, I don't need to read the whole first part of it. It's looking at the diagram. Where would the certificate authority be located in this picture? Use your mouse to select. So scroll down now. So in here, we've got, you got to know the parts, right? I mean, so I'm looking at this and I go, and it's that top left because it's granting that certificate to the user. Yeah, I think it's that top left, the desk with the folder.
Congratulations, you got it correct.
Oh yeah, okay. Whew. It had the red box, and I was like, "Wait, what?" So
Yeah. So I I do remember having something like this on my exam.
Yeah,
When I did.
I know they might have something with like networks and click on what is the router or something like that. But
Yep.
you basically just have to decipher what that picture is and understand how PKI works.
Cool. We will continue here. We got one of one, of course, because that was the one that was there. All right. Let's see. So we probably have time to go through probably one more set here.
Yeah,
Uh,
let's do one we haven't done yet. Let's do another one. I'm all
all right.
for it.
So, okay.
Let's do
Matching
sequence.
sequence. Drag and drop or drop down.
Let's
Drop
do
down
drop
might be a
down.
little, yeah. I was gonna say it might be a little bit easier. We've only got one of these guys too.
That's okay.
All right. So we're gonna use the drop down to select our choice. This is sort of a different format. In the list below, please order the different technologies from the least secure at the top of the list to the most secured at the bottom.
I wonder if there's another because those first two are the same. No, there it is. Okay. Oh, there's
So those
whoa,
are our choices.
interesting.
So we want least secure at the top, most secure at the bottom.
So WPA, WPA2. And then would it be
So WPA, I think the WEP would be the next one. So probably, this is probably the order that I would go.
yeah, I think so.
Anybody else have any thoughts on that? I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm just,
The only thing I'm not sure if yeah, it's gotta be that way.
I agree.
and let's find out. So we've got WEP.
It is what okay. That was my only hesitation was is what gonna be or is WPA gonna be below both of the web?
I had the same thought too. I was like, I'm just going to send it because, yeah, bad idea on my part. So, yeah, so just basically the WEP goes first and then WPA, then WPA2, which makes sense, honestly, now looking at it. And it looks like there was some other ones, which,
I think they just have all of them listed, even though they
oh,
weren't in
interesting.
that question.
Cool. So good information to have. All right. And then we'll submit here and submit. And we go again.
Let's do the sequencing drag and drop, just so we have a little bit. See if there's more.
Sequence drag drop.
Yeah,
Oh, we do have more. All right.
here we go.
Oh, can we invoke Evan on this one?
Yeah, Evan.
Got another one for you, man.
Yes. What's up? What's up? What's going on?
That's a softball.
Yeah,
What's Clement doing? Okay. Top application presentation session transport network data link physical. Put them in that order, top to bottom.
Wait, say it again.
Application, presentation, session, transport. Oh, data link got up there. Network, application presentation, session transport. Sorry, session transport network, data link physical. There you go.
and
Nice.
this one, it's important to read that last sentence, starting with layer 1 at the bottom and 7 at the top, because they will flip it back and forth. So you've got to make sure you're paying attention.
Yep. All right. Next up. Which of the following items would provide the best strength when it comes to protecting confidentiality? Using your mouse, put them in order. All right.
So I'm going to go AS triple des base 64.
You said triple des, then base 64, right?
I think so.
That makes sense. And I'm just going to point it out again. Make sure that you read which one they want at the top on these, because I was going to put it in the reverse order of this. I was going to go the weakest at the top. All right, let's find out. Let's verify. So AES triple des base 64. So we are correct. Which thank you, Steve, for throwing that all people seem to need data processing. Do not tell salespeople anything.
That's my favorite.
I had not heard that one. All right, we've got a lot of stuff here. Common criteria are used for testing security products. Below you descriptions that map which 7 evaluation assurance levels that exist in the common criteria. Using your mouse, please put the level in the proper order, starting with the level having the lowest security requirements at the top and the highest security requirements at the bottom. So,
It's a good one.
it is. So, semi-formally functionally tested,
Hey, we're
semi-formally.
done. You want to take it? If I'm not gonna put you on the spot if you don't want that. So I think functionally tested, structurally tested, semi-formally designed and tested, semi-formally, yep. Methodically, yep. Yep, I like that.
Okay.
Please take some espresso as testing rocks.
There you go.
All right, let's find out. Show the answer. All right, so functionality tested, cool. Structurally tested, cool. Methodically tested and checked would be next.
All right.
So can we still move them? So
yeah. Okay. So yes, the formally should have given that away.
yep. Then we have semi-formally verified. Yep, and then formally.
I was close, considering I've never done that in the real world.
Yeah, this is for me, this is one of those things where it's like when you start getting into this sort of thing, you're going to have a lot of documentation stuff that you're going to be following. And it's one of those things that it's cool to know. Probably you're going to know this if this is a world that you live in on a day-to-day basis. But if you don't, then this is something that you're going to go and look up, or you're going to have some sort of documentation that you're going to follow that's going to give you this information, especially with the specifics here. All right, and let's move on to the next one. Oh, interesting.
You must have hit the resume save quiz there. You must have hit save, or it glitched out on you.
I probably hit save. This is not what we were just in.
No, it looks like it glitched out.
Civic quiz exit. Today's.
Oh, there you go. The 6th question one.
Yeah,
There
it
we
was
go.
me. Yeah, I probably just went down too far. All right, moving on. So we've got another wireless one. So we get to redeem ourselves. All right. Which of the following Wi-Fi standards would offer the most security? Using your mouth, put them in order, starting with the least secure at the top and the most secure at the bottom.
Open AP,
Yep.
web, WPA personal, WPA enterprise. And yeah, flip those. There you go.
Cool. I agree with you. It's the same order I would have done. So OpenAP. When it said OpenAP, I'm like, is that like a
I know.
like is it something so simple as that, or is this like some sort of something I haven't heard of?
No,
So
open
we've
access.
got
I know.
WA personal, enterprise, 2 personal, 2 enterprise, and then we're good. Cool. Fairly straightforward on that one. And oh, we just did this one. So we're going to do this. So layer 7 to layer 1 again. So let's see. All people seem to need data processing. Application presentation, session, network data. Did I do it right? Layer 1 to 7 or 7 to 1. Cool. I think it's right.
Yes,
Nice. Thank you, Evan.
you're welcome.
All right. And question 6. What are the following credential management techniques from most to least secure, top to bottom? Or bottom, as this says here. All right. So, who wants this one?
I'll take it. From most to least secure. Okay, writing password is going to be the very bottom or the bottom. Storing passwords in an encrypted file or restricted access. Using a password vault. Wait a minute. Switch the second and the third one.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's see. Is it correct? Answer is enforcing multi-factor authentication. Then we've got using a password vault with strong encryption. And passwords in an encrypted file with restricted access, and then writing passwords on a notepad. Cool. You're looking good. So, I think that, do we have time for another one, or are we're probably good for the moment?
I think I'm done. I need to eat. I'm hungry.
Okay, cool. Man, it's late for you to eat, man. I haven't eaten yet, and it's only almost 6 o'clock.
I had a snack before.
Cool. All right. So with that, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to throw them out there in chat or send a message in Discord. Also, for those who are interested in the question of the day, I've got a new set of them that I'm putting up there, which I'm hoping that they're better than the ones that have been there before and more and a little bit closer to what we've seen today, or exam questions as well, just the way they're written and such. So please throw your answers in there. And yeah, any questions, throw them in there. Anybody have anything else before we go?
No, good job, guys.
Well, in that case, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, very much. Appreciate it, and have a wonderful evening and happy studies.
Bye, everybody.
Night.
Right.
Have a
And
good
then
one,
there
Jim.
were two again. See you,
Yep.
Brian. Take care.